Something unusual just happened in the skies over the Pacific. The U.S. sent strategic bombers on a mission that wasn't just practice. It caught the attention of countries worldwide and raised questions about global security. In this video, we'll break down what happened, why it matters, and what it could mean next. By the end of this video, you'll understand why this bomber mission made headlines, the history behind U.S. strategic flights, and how other countries may respond. Even if you're not a military expert, you'll get a clear picture of how these moves fit into global politics. Stick around because we'll also explain what this means for regional stability. 1. What happened? Let's break this down in detail. Earlier this week, the U.S. sent B-52 and B-1 bombers on what was officially described as a routine training mission. On the surface, it might have seemed like just another practice flight, part of normal operations. But experts quickly noticed something unusual. The route these bombers took was closer to certain sensitive regions than typical training flights. That caught the attention of other countries, some of which scrambled their own aircraft to track or monitor the mission. To put it in everyday terms, think of it like a neighborhood watch. Imagine someone drives past your house regularly. It's normal, part of daily life. But one day that same person takes a slightly different route or spends extra time nearby. Even if they aren't doing anything harmful, you notice, and it sparks curiosity or concern. That's exactly what happened with this mission. The U.S. didn't issue any warning or declare the flight a threat, but the timing and location naturally drew attention. For viewers, this example highlights an important point. Even routine military actions often carry messages. A flight like this can sometimes signal readiness, show deterrence, or quietly communicate political intent without a single word being spoken. 2. Why the mission matters. Why should we care about bomber flights? Because these missions do more than move aircraft around. They send signals to other nations without firing a single shot. For example, during the Cold War, U.S. bombers would fly near the Soviet Union's borders. It was a way to show they could respond quickly if needed. Today, similar principles apply. Sending bombers on missions near specific regions can remind other countries that the U.S. is monitoring developments. This doesn't mean war is inevitable. In fact, most of the time it's about showing capability and readiness. But for people watching the news, it's a reminder that global security is delicate. Small actions like the route a bomber takes can be interpreted in multiple ways. So if you're wondering, why should I follow this? It matters because it reflects the ongoing balance of power in strategic regions. Even small moves are watched closely by military and political leaders. 3. The history behind strategic bomber flights. Bomber flights like this aren't new. For decades, the U.S. has used long-range bombers to patrol, train, and sometimes send political messages. During World War II and the Cold War, bombers were crucial. They could reach anywhere in the world and carry significant firepower. Today, B-52s and B-1s are still in service, but they have updated technology. They can carry precision-guided weapons and operate in areas where access is sometimes limited. A small example: last year, similar bomber flights were conducted near certain islands in the Pacific. Analysts said the purpose was partly training, partly signaling to nearby countries that the U.S. was paying attention. For viewers, this shows that what looks like just planes flying often has layers of meaning. Understanding this history helps make sense of today's headlines. 4. How other countries may react. When the U.S. sends bombers into sensitive areas, other nations notice. They may respond in ways that are defensive, diplomatic, or sometimes symbolic. For example, nearby countries might scramble their own aircraft, conduct radar monitoring, or make official statements. This doesn't necessarily mean conflict. It's often about showing awareness and maintaining balance. Think of it like chess. A piece is moved and the opponent adjusts. Some analysts also suggest that these missions can spark discussions behind closed doors. Military and political leaders may talk about whether such moves are routine, provocative, or strategically important. Here's a small engagement line. Have you ever noticed how one small military move makes the news globally? It's a reminder that in international affairs, even minor actions are carefully watched. So when we see a mission like this, it's not just planes in the sky, it's part of a larger conversation between nations. 5. Technology and capability of modern bombers. Let's talk about the planes themselves. B-1s and B-52s aren't just big and loud, they're highly capable. B-52s, for instance, can fly long distances without refueling and carry various weapons. B-1s are faster and can fly at low altitudes to avoid detection. Both can operate in complex environments, making them valuable tools for both training and strategic signaling. A small story: during one past mission, a B-52 flew non-stop across the Pacific. It was a training exercise, but also a demonstration that the U.S. could project power far from home. For viewers, understanding these capabilities helps put the news in context. It's not about creating fear, it's about understanding what these aircraft can do and why their presence is noteworthy. 6. Strategic messaging: what the U.S. may be signaling. Strategic bomber flights can also carry subtle messages. Sometimes it's about deterrence, reminding others that the U.S. can respond quickly. Sometimes it's about reassurance, signaling allies that the U.S. is actively involved in regional security. For example, if tensions rise in a certain area, a bomber flight can show readiness without escalating to conflict. Think of it as a warning shot that doesn't involve weapons fire. Here's another engagement line: if you were watching this live, what would your first reaction be? Interesting to see how perspective changes depending on where you live. The key takeaway: these moves are layered. They have training purposes, political purposes, and signaling purposes. That's why experts pay close attention. 7. Public perception and media coverage. News outlets often focus on the most eye-catching part, the shock of a mission, but public perception doesn't always match intent. Some people may see this as provocative, others as routine. That's why understanding context matters. The U.S. government usually emphasizes that such missions are standard exercises, even if observers notice unusual timing or locations. For viewers, it's a lesson in looking beyond headlines. One flight can mean many things, and different analysts may interpret it differently. By the end of this video, you'll have a framework for understanding these moves more clearly. 8. What it means for the future. So what could this mission mean going forward? While it doesn't predict immediate conflict, it signals ongoing strategic awareness. Other countries may adjust their plans, conduct their own exercises, or engage in diplomatic talks. From a broader perspective, it's part of maintaining balance in global security. Just like regular checkups keep your body healthy, these missions keep international relations under observation. For viewers, the takeaway is simple. It's not about fear. It's about understanding the dynamics of global security and why small actions can have wider significance. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit like, share, and subscribe for more.